So in this episode, we're going to take on a really muddy hill climb. Before we do that, we're going to do a little detour to a nice little climb. Another nasty climb here. Have a look at it. So basically the top ledge is around here, but the bottom ledge is down there. So the Hilux has got to basically be picking that left wheel first, and then hopefully it's not a wheelbase trap and I'm caught. It shouldn't be. We'll give it a go. Find somewhere to turn around up here and we'll come down the track next to where we just came up. A very steep drop off. Since removing the brake proportioning valve off this car, the brakes have been amazing. Now it's a hill that the 79 on 35-inch traps actually drove. Now I don't expect this one to pose a problem. This is the view from the top. We drop down into those ruts there. We go into that mud, which looks like it hasn't been touched for a little while, and then up the center line there. And that's where the 79 surprised everybody.
Look at those flecks.
It was a bit later in the day than it is now, so it's quite, coolish here now. But the CompSpec traps, I feel that they should do this quite easily. Wow, the truck really sunk here. It's a lot muddier than I remembered. just doesn't have the wheel speed that the big V8 Cruiser does. The predicament I had here was I couldn't really go back far enough to get a decent run up. I just couldn't get back far enough to get a run up without the tyres getting completely muddy again. So even though I had a lot of heat in the tyres, going back down into the mud and taking off again, I was basically starting off with a cold tyre again.
The Cruiser wins! It's getting a bit warm, so it's very wet here, I'll show you. Cruiser wins. The motor's getting a bit warm.
We're winching, but you can see the back tyre, it's soup. So the fronts were dry and they were biting, but I think the V8's got a little bit more horsepower to, plus the smaller rubber it was running. But I got a bit more fuel pumping through this pump at the moment, so the temperature got a bit up there. So we'll just winch, but you can see there was a lot of heat coming off that front right. Probably took 5 mil off him. It was a good 10 minutes trying. Nothing like being on your own and having a winch. Taking up the slack here so that I can have a look at where the rope's going to be hitting the peak of the hill. What I'm doing here now is I'm putting a stick across that highest point so I don't damage the plasma by dragging it along the ground. This recovery is a blind one. I can't really see the base of the tree. Now since this video, all my new gears come. I've got some brand new Marlin crawler gears, comp spec ones, and another rear disconnect from Trail Gear. Now the rear disconnect from Trail Gear, they've been used. They're still in good condition. So what we're going to do, we're going to build this into the case that I broke originally. The case that I've got in the Bullet now, what we're going to do is we're going to use that top shift as my second case. So we're going to go twin cases with the Marlin crawlers in the first case and a rear disconnect. So in the meantime, we're going to run, for the next two events, we'll run single case with the Marlins and the rear disconnect. But moving forward, we're going to have twin sticks, top shift second. Just too wet leading up to the main climb. We got a little bit of the way up. I'm pretty sure it was drier here when we brought the 35-inch Treps through. But you know what? It was a good test for the transfer case. That was 10 minutes of punishment on it. Now the reason we're going to be doing this is because we've chosen to run an 80 series rear in the back, and I'm going to stick with a 4:1 ratio. So I'm going to get all my gearing out of the two cases and then run a center of 4.1 to 1, which is just probably one of your strongest centers. Big plans for the second half of the year for Bullet Truck. Beaten by its tow vehicle. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode. The show will be the next video we have in a couple of weeks' time. And once again, thanks for watching.